Hello, me again. Welcome to the Medicine Show. I want to tackle a internet craze that seems to be sweeping the entire world right now, where otherwise intelligent people really aren't doing any diligence, and that's the flat Earth theory, the theory that the Earth is flat. The trouble I have with it is just full of a bunch of anecdotes and alleged scientific experiments that we're just to accept. A lot of these are anecdotal. Many of these we each haven't proven to ourselves. However, they did make some statements in there that were provably dubious. Let's take, for instance, the fact that engineers do not have to account for the curvature of the Earth. Well, if you take 5,280 feet and you multiply it by 12 to get the number of inches, you get 63,360. Okay, so if it drops 8 inches or rises 8 inches, you would get 63,368. Okay, so if you take 63,360 divided by 63,368, you get 0.9998737. Okay, the error tolerances in most engineering is less than that for a lot of these structures, and the difference becomes negligible. So yes, it's true that engineers do not account for the curvature of the Earth, because over that period, over that distance, it's so small, one doesn't have to worry about that. There's some matter of issues there. If it's only 8 inches a mile, then over several miles, you'd be able to see things at a distance, allegedly over the horizon. Quite frankly, because I looked at what they were talking about, they confused feet with inches and said that, oh well, that would be over the horizon, and that's not true. The other part of what I had is, I've been in airplanes and I've been on Pikes Peak. It's 14,110 feet right outside of Colorado Springs. And wow, lo and behold, I looked out of the window of the airplane and wow, I saw the curvature of the Earth. Others have too. Okay. You can see the curvature of the Earth being on Pikes Peak. However, if you take little snapshots round in a circle, yeah, it won't appear that way because over, the limited view that you get, again, the error becomes negligible and you don't see the curve. But over the horizon, up high enough, you will see it for yourself. The other thing that I have trouble with is the fact that, for some reason, we're told that the rotation of the Earth doesn't have to be accounted for in artillery. My dad was an artilleryman, and he told me that they had something that he called a Met V calculation to calculate the ballistics where the round would hit, and one of the things were, air density, their temperature, the initial velocity, curvature of the Earth was part of the and rotation of the Earth was a calculation. Also, the difference between magnetic north and geographic north had to be accounted for. So the statement that these things aren't accounted for is not true. The other thing too is when you look at the atmosphere and the height of the atmosphere, a lot of the pictures that you see is this, huge, expansive atmosphere over the top of us. But if you look at it as a percentage, the atmosphere clings to the planet. I mean, it is really, really thin. I mean, it's sort of like the slippery skin on the onion. I mean, it is way down. The bulk of the atmosphere is really clinging to the Earth. And of course, it is a gas, and yeah, it has momentum. So the idea that you would have all high winds because the Earth is rotating, no, I mean, there's something called momentum. And that's the same reason why, although if you jump up in the air, yeah, there are differences. There is an effect of the Earth rotating. However, again, that error becomes so negligible, it's almost indetectable. You'd have to have some pretty reliable equipment in order to do that. I mean, a human being isn't capable of actually discerning that. Not the least of which is, if a lot of the stuff that they were saying were true, they just ignore momentum completely. And what momentum is the fact that you're rotating with the Earth, you're up to speed, and everything around you is up to the same speed. It's not like, hey, you're going to jump up in the sky and the Earth is going to rotate out from underneath you because it's rotating at, whatever speed, they say it's rotating. No. Why? Because when you jump up in the air, you're traveling at the same speed. So, it would only be, wind resistance if there was wind. But, I mean, if the wind was blowing the other direction, it would probably have more effect than the fact that the Earth is moving while you're up in the air for the few moments that you were there. And as far as piloting planes, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that pilots have to account for. Not the least of which is wind is their primary effect. Again, they have momentum, and that momentum sticks. Now, over a long flight, yeah, there's probably something, but it's going to be negligible compared to the prevalent wind. So there are people, right? I've not been to the South Pole, okay? And whether or not there's a midnight sun down there or not, I'm sure it could be easily discounted. But once certain people get it in their mind that it's this way, any kind of contrary evidence that you present to them becomes suspect in their minds, and they're just going to believe what they're going to believe. And ultimately, I don't know if the fact that the Earth is flat itself really matters at all in the scheme of things. I think we have bigger fish to fry in that we can't seem to exist without killing one another. That to me seems to be a lot more important than whether or not the Earth is flat or not. And to me, let's assume it is. Okay, so they're lying to us about that. Okay, right? We already know that there's a significant amount of deception in just about everything, in literature, in history, in science, religion, finance, law. Okay, but to sit here and get all excited about, perhaps the Earth being flat versus the Earth being round, I think we got better things to do and more important things to be concerned with. However, you have to realize that if you accept this kind of anecdotal information that you haven't yourself done any diligence or verified for yourself, that's a primary way that people determine whether or not you're sane or not. And if you're not sane, then of course they're going to have to tell you what to do because you're a danger to yourself and others. So, alrighty. That's all I'm going to say about that. But, next time you're in an airplane, look out the window and see if you can see it. It's there if you look. Have a good one. As always, thank you
for being me.